One of the most important single aspect of all kind of success is positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude is a constructive response to all kind of stresses one faces every single day. A positive mental attitude is when you feel that you can control the world and control yourself. A positive attitude is like a chicken and egg thing. If you are successful, you are positive. If you are positive, you are successful. But which come first? It doesn't really matter, but we know is that positive thinkers are men and women who accomplish an awful lot more than the people who have negative mental attitude. In fact, we can conclude that positive thinking is mental health and negative thinking is mental illness. Now, if you look at the spectrum of people from the unhealthiest to the healthiest mentality, and you will find that at the very top, you have the happiest people with higher self-esteem who are the most positive and outgoing. At the very bottom, you have the most negative and pessimistic people who often require drug and hospitalization. Now that we are really interested in is how to develop a positive mental attitude. You must become thoroughly positive and constructive towards yourself and possibility and all possibilities, the world around you and the people in your life. It can be done in a same way as we do to develop physical fitness. Like for example, if you go to a gym for a workout on a regular basis for an hour or so every day for 30 days and take a proper diet, you will see difference in yourself physically. Similarly, it is the same thing with mental fitness. We know that you can't see the results of mental fitness in the same way you can see in physical fitness, but you can see the results of it. And mental fitness comes from following a specific exercise program. It comes from doing things in a certain way every single day, and it is much easier than going to a gym and sweating it out working on it. So what you need to do is you need to get onto a mental fitness program that enables you to become more and more strong, resilient, confident, positive, optimistic, and to develop a positive mental attitude. Before we understand the techniques to develop positive mental attitude, let us quickly understand the influences on us that result in our behavior. The slide first outlines the source of a belief. It then shows the relationship between the belief and the values, then to our attitudes and our resulting behavior. A belief is an idea that a person holds as being true. A person can base a belief upon certainties, probabilities, or matters of faith. A belief can come from different sources, including a person's own experience or experiments, the acceptance of cultural and social norms, for example, religion, what other people say, that is about from mentoring or from education. A potential belief sits with the person until they accept it as truth and adopt it as a part of the individual belief system. Each person evaluates and seeks sound reasons or evidence for this potential belief in their own way. Once a person accepts a belief as a truth, they are willing to defend it and can stand to form part of their mental belief system. What is value or what is personal value? Values are stable, long-lasting belief about what is important to a person. They become standards by which people order their lives and make their choices. A belief will develop into a value when the person's commitment to it grows and they see it as being important. It is possible to categorize belief into different types of values. Example include values that relate to happiness, wealth, career, success, or family. A person must be able to articulate their values in order to make their clear, rational, responsible, and consistent decisions. Let us understand what is an attitude. Attitudes are the mental disposition people have towards others and the current circumstances before making decisions that results in behavior. People primarily form their attitude from underlying values and beliefs. However, factors which may not have been internalized as belief and values can still influence a person's attitude at the point of decision making. Typical influences include the desire to please, political correctness, convenience, peer pressure, and psychological stresses. Behaviors are practical application of your values, translating them into day-to-day actions. Values tend to be broad brushstrokes. Behaviors nail the detail of what you are expected to do. Behaviors are the practical application of values, translating them into day-to-day actions. Values tend to be broad brushstrokes. Behavior implies the actions, moves, conducts, or functions of an individual or group towards another person. It is an outward expression of attitude based on the situation. Now I'll give you 7 steps, 7 things that you can do, 7 things that have been proven to work. What I am going to ask you to do is that you practice these 7 steps for 21 days, that is about 3 weeks. The reason for this is that it takes 3 weeks to develop a new habit of any kind. If you work on a habit pattern and you practice it every day, you begin to develop a new neural grooves in your brain that causes you to think and act more optimistically automatically. These 7 steps will alter and align your conscious and subconscious mind to develop positive mental attitude. Once you implement these 7 steps and make it a habit, you will get up in the morning feeling better. You are more positive towards the challenges you face during the day. You are more optimistic in the face of adversity. You start to become more confident and optimistic person, and when you do, you will find your whole life will open around you like sunshine on a bright morning. All the techniques are equally important. All the techniques which I will be showing are equally important and everything counts. After 21 days, stick to the newly developed habits on the other techniques. Now let's go to these 7 steps and understand what it is and how to implement them. Positive self-talk, which is the first step towards positive mental attitude, that you talk to yourself in a positive way. It means that you are optimistic in a conversation with yourself. What we have found in 19 is that 95% of the emotions, how you feel about yourself on a minute to minute basis, are determined by the way you talk to yourself. Now the average person has about 1500 words of dialogue running through their brain every minute. It runs at incredible speed. It is almost impossible. It is called stream of consciousness. It is like river of consciousness. What you do here is to deliberately interfere with that stream and make sure that your thoughts are on what you want and are off the things that you don't want. We also know that there are things in cognitive psychology called explanatory style. Explanatory style has to do with how you explain things to yourself. We know that successful people, positive people, are people who explain things to themselves in a positive way. They say, well, that's an interesting situation, or that will work out okay, or don't worry about it, everything is going to happen for a good reason, and so on. Positive people are those who constantly take what is happening, whereas negative people interpret them differently or explain them differently. Positive people turn them around and explain them well. So the second part of positive self-talk is to control inner dialogue. It is to control what is happening inside you and to be aware that the average person, if they are not careful, tend to be negative. You will tend to think about things you worry about. You will tend to be skeptical. You will tend to be skeptical. You will tend to be cynical. It is it's amazing that people with positive today, who are positive today, are basically people with high levels of mental health and are under attack by the negative people. And here's the key to the positive self-talk. It is one of the most important parts of the modern psychology, and it is the use of affirmation. Now, affirmations are positive statements that you make to yourself about yourself, and you will remember. You become when you think about. What you repeat to yourself repeatedly is accepted by your subconscious mind as a command. And there are 3 P's to affirmation. That means, first, it must be personal. When I said 3 P's, first, it must be personal. That means all good self-talk that programs your subconscious mind begins with the word I can, I am, I like myself, I can do it, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. Now the second P is, must be the present tense. In other words, you don't have to say I will quit smoking, I will earn good living, I will be happy. You have to say I am happy, I am a non-smoker, I feel terrific, I feel myself great today. You say it today as though it were in the now. We know that your subconscious mind does not take in information that is couched in the future. And the third P is positive. So instead of saying I am not going to smoke anymore, you say I am a non-smoker. We find again that the subconscious mind sorts out and deletes any negative affirmations. As we find again that the subconscious mind sorts out and deletes any negatives. Affirmations are the key. With affirmations, your potential as a person is unlimited. The discovery of affirmation and the development of affirmation as a science has been one of the greatest breakthrough areas in the human potential. If I could give you one secret of success, it will be this. It is a talk about the things you want and refuse to talk about the things you don't want. It is to talk continually in terms of what you want to happen. It is to interpret things continually in terms of the way you want them to be. It is to continually control your inner dialogue. So you are always saying the things to yourself and then to others that are consistent with the person you want to be and the life that you want to have. Remember, 95% of your feelings are determined by the way you talk to yourself. And it is essential that you talk to yourself the way you want to be. The second part of mental fitness, or the second key, is positive visualization. Positive visualization means that you control your mental picture. There is one important mental law, which is that all improvement in your life begins with an important improvement in your mental picture. We know that because of law of correspondence, that our outer world tends to be a mirror of inner world. This means that what you see on your outside, what you see in your relationship, your health, your work, your customers, and so on, tends to be result of the picture you have. We also know that self-image controls your performance. It is the way you see yourself and thinks about yourself inside determines how you act on a day-to-day basis. If you see yourself and think about yourself as an extraordinary person, if you see yourself as success, if you see yourself as happy and positive and confident in control, if you see yourself as loving parent or spouse, you will act that way towards others. So therefore, all improvement in your life begins with an improvement in your mental picture, with you consciously and deliberately selecting the pictures that you are going to allow your mind to dwell upon. And the word dwell is terribly important. When you dwell upon a picture, your subconscious mind, just as with affirmation, accepts the picture as command and goes on to work to bring that picture into your reality. It is the most phenomenal thing. Your subconscious mind controls your reticular activating system on your reticular or your reticular cortex as well. What it means, your reticular activating system is very interesting. It is a small part of your brain. It is like switchboard in your brain that controls all incoming impulses. Let me give you an example. If you are ever thought you are going to buy a red sports car, you send a signal to your brain that red sports car are now important to you. Your reticular activating system suddenly activates all your senses so that wherever you go, you see red sport cars everywhere. Every time you turn around, you see them turning the corner. You see them parked. You see them in parking lots. You see them in a newspaper and magazines. You see them everywhere. If you begin to tell your brain that you intend to be a great success in your field, that you are going to move to the top, that you are going to be one of the most pristine people in what you do, if you are going to make a lot of money, whatever it happens to be is accepted as a command. The reticular cortex switches all these switches, and from then on you begin to see all kinds of possibility that help you to move towards achieving that goal. Why is it that successful people move so rapidly towards achieving their goal? It is very simple. It is because they are thinking all the time. Because of thinking about what they want, they see all kind of opportunities around them to achieve them. The average person doesn't even see, because the average person is so worried about the little money they have and how much their bills are, all the problems, and more they think about those things are the more they get them. So about positive visualization, see yourself as you desire. Remember, we said earlier, see yourself enjoying the successes that you want. See yourself as you desire. And what will happen is your subconscious mind will say, oh, this must be a command. This must be what you want. So it goes to work and it coordinates your words, action, thoughts, activities, emotion, and so on. So they are consistent with achieving and bringing them that mental picture into your reality. If you ask yourself to be successful people, if you ask to successful people and ask them on a regular basis, what do you think about? What are you thinking about now? You find that successful people are always thinking about constructive, positive, creative thoughts that help them to be more successful. Similarly, if you ask to a negative people who aren't doing very much with their lives, you ask them what they are thinking about. They are always thinking about negatives, hurtful, destructive, angry, resentful, worries, thoughts, and surprises. The more they think about them and work about them, the more they draw them into their lives. Be careful. Your mind is very, very powerful. And finally, the third positive visualization is to feed your mind continually. Feed your mind on a regular basis. The way you will feed your body with a special kind of foods, feed your mind with pictures consistent with what you want. Just before you go to bed at night, visualize and see your ideal situation the coming day. See yourself performing at the best. See yourself living your ideal lifestyle. When you feed that picture into your mind just before you go to sleep, what happens is your subconscious and your super subconscious goes to work all night. Very, very powerful technique, one of the most powerful of all for success. Now the next technique, number 3, is a positive mental food. Just as we said, we are talking about mental food in a way, but just as we said before that, you become what you think about. You become what you think about. If I were to say to you, oh, there is a remarkable discovery. Did you know that you become what you eat? That your food determines your physical health. And the problem is we just don't eat the things that we should. Positive mental food is the same. You become what you think about most of the time. In other words, Your whole life today, everything around you has been determined by what you think about most of the time. You have attracted into your life, you have attracted your relationship, you determine your income by what you think about most of the time. Now if you think about positive, constructive, success oriented happy things, you start to have more of this in your life. If you think about movies and televisions and sports and are wasting your time in socializing while you have lot of those in your life, but you won't have anything else, remember what you think about most of the time crowds the other things out of your life. So in becoming what you think about, what do you feed your mind on a regular basis, and this is not something that you are casual about. You must be very very deliberate and feed your mind diet of mental protein, of highly nutritious words, pictures, quotes, magazines, televisions, audio tapes, audio books, newspapers, and so on. The average person likes negativistic, violent, garbage news. In fact, they tried to publish a newspaper on several occasions that only had good news in it, and the newspaper failed. Do you know why it failed? It is because the great majority of the people wouldn't buy a newspaper that did not have dreadful stories of dreadful things happening to innocent people. Your job is to ask yourself when you look at a book, is this going to help me in some way? Let me ask you a question. What do you think will happen to you if you read a whole lot of horror books, or a whole lot of murder books, or a whole lot of violence books? What do you think will happen to you who read these books all the time? You think it will affect your mind. Your bet it will be affect your mind. What do successful people read? They read books that are positive and constructive and success oriented and uplifting and educational and motivational. If you read all the negative stories in newspaper day after day, and get the idea, by the way, that a whole society is falling apart. If you read negative stories in magazine, you get the same things. The things that you feed into your mind have such an enormous impact on your mind. Make sure that what you are listening to, what you are watching, what you are hearing is consistent with what you want to accomplish in your life. Now the fourth part of mental programming. The fourth part is positive people. We know this is that the people account for about 85% of your happiness and unhappiness in your life. An extensive study at Harvard produced an expression called a reference group. Now your reference group are the people that you think yourself to be like. When you are growing up, your first reference group is your family, then it's your school, then you grow up and you join clubs and associates, and sometimes you go to church, or eventually join a political party, or you join a career. At each time, the people in the field are your reference group. You must think about this question: what people do you most identify with? What people do you most consider yourself to be like? Be one of. They are like me, I am like them. What do you know about high performing man and woman? Is that their reference group from very early age are the most successful people in the field? They are the most admirable people. They are the most positive people. They are the kind of people that they admire and want to be like. What is your reference group? What do you socialize with? Who do you go for lunch with? Who do you go out for dinner with? Who do you like to read about, talk about? What is your reference group? Because it will determine your life and your success as much as anything else. And your reference group is got to be winners. Get around winners. Get around positive people. Get around people who are social, who are goal oriented. Get around people going somewhere with their life. Get around the people who talk, as they say in the Western song, from who never has heard a discouraging word. Get away from losers. One of the primary reason why people lose in life, it is because they are either brought up by negative people or they associate with losers when they become adults. What we have found is this: you and I have what is called a chameleon response to relationship. We tend to adopt the words, the actions, the behavior, the mannerism, the dress, even the slang of the people that we associate with most of the time. If we are not very careful, we'll talk on their clothing like a chameleon and we become just like them. I can tell you a dozens of stories of man and woman who just switched reference group and their whole life changed. They went from company A to company B, and in company A they never accomplished anything, and in company B they became superstar. People who went from bad relationship to good relationship, in a bad relationship were never happy or successful. In the good relationship they were accomplished wonderful things. Get away from negative people, get around positive people, associate with winners in your life. Now the fifth part is positive training and development. Positive training and development are a part of a physical fitness program. We know that learning today is the key to the future, and whatever you know today, it is becoming obsolete at a rapid rate. We also know that there is a direct relationship between competence, how well you do what you do, and self-esteem. Self-esteem, how much you like yourself, how much you respect yourself, how good you feel about yourself, and so on. The better you get at doing the important things in your life, the happier you are about yourself. The happier you are about yourself, the more positive you are. The more positive you are, the more people like you. The more people like you, the more they want to work with you and help you and assist you. What we have found is that in life, most of your success is going to come from other people. Most of your success is going to come from someone who helps you. And people like to help others who are good at what they do, and who are pleasant and easy to have good relationship with. So these are the keys to positive training and development. Read on a regular basis. Read an hour or so. 30 to 40, 60 minutes every day will make you one of the greatest authorities in your field in a couple of years. Listen to educational and uplifting audio cassettes or audiobooks in your car. Turn driving time to a learning time. The average person spends around 500 to 1000 hours a year in the car. And if you can turn the driving time into a learning time, you will become one of the most successful and the best paid people in your society. And third, take every course that you possibly can. The future depends upon formal education, professional training courses, public seminar. Remember this, continuous learning is the key to the future. In fact, the only real skill that will count in the future when all knowledge and skills are becoming obsolete is the ability to learn new things at a rapid rate. So dedicate yourself to lifelong continuous personal improvement. By doing that, the things that you will accomplish will be amazing. Number 6 is positive health habits. Positive health habits in terms of success are critical. Positive health habits mean that you give a lot of thought to how good you feel on a regular basis, because you know that it's energy and dynamism that count today. Energy and dynamism translate into human magnetism. They translate into positive mental attitude. And it's not possible for you to be positive if you are tired or burnt out, if you are worn out, if you didn't get enough sleep. So here's what we know about food in number 1. If you should be eating healthy food and healthy diet, we know more today about how to eat great foods, how to have high levels of energy than we ever have done before. And it's simple. We'll go into this length in other program or other videos. But first, eat lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, lots of whole grain products. Second, stop eating fats, sugars, and salts. Third, drink lot of water. And fourth of all, get lot of exercise. Walk, get onto an aerobic exercise program. Regular rest and recreations are critical to having high levels of physical energy, which gives you the optimism and confidence to be able to bounce when you have to face the adversities of the daily life rather than breaking up. The seventh key and the last key to the mental fitness is positive actions. Remember, everything counts and positive action is the key. There are a lot of people who read various self-help books and listen to experts and make all the plans and set all the goals, then they don't do anything. So number 7, the final point, positive action. That means get going, get busy, move fast. Positive action gives you energy. It gives you energy and it gives you enthusiasm. And the faster you move, the more energy you have. Faster you move, the better you get. The faster you move, the more enthusiasm you have. The faster you move, the more you improve. The faster you move, the more you feel in control of your life. We call this a sense of urgency. There are many qualities that can develop to be successful, but a sense of energy is possessed by less than 2% of the population. These are the people who are almost magnets for opportunities, because today the primary source of value in our society is, what does that mean? It means that the people are impatient today, and we will always give greater credits for competence and ability to perform work, or to a person who does things it means that people are important today. We will always give greater credits for competence and ability to a person who does things for us fast, rather than a person who does things for us slowly. We have found that every company and every individual who succeed has developed a bias for action. A bias for action means that they get into a fast tempo. They do things quicker. They move faster. They get busy. They get going. If they get a phone call, they get back. If they get a lead, they move on to it fast. With this, I will conclude. If you practice positive health habits and eat the right foods, and if you make a habit every single day of doing the most important things and doing them now, get on with them, getting going, doing it fast, you will open doors of opportunity that today you may not even see. You will attract into your life people and circumstances and opportunities to achieve your goals that you may never have accomplished before. And in 21 days of following this plan, you will become a positive, optimistic, forceful, controlled, cheerful person with a positive mental attitude and the ability to accomplish anything. Thanks for watching this insightful video. I want your support to push this video to maximum audience by liking, sharing and subscribing. And don't forget to put a comment. This will help me to improve future videos. Thank you once again.